All right. Hawaii's most dangerous volcano, Kilauea, by me, Milo, and Chris.
So for our presentation, we have four main topics. What is a volcano? The history, geology, and structure of Kilauea. So what is a volcano? A volcano is a cone-shaped mountain or hill with a vent or crater on top. This allows lava, rock, vapor, and gas to erupt from the Earth's crust. There are many different parts to a volcano, but the four main aspects are the crater, the vent, the magma chamber, and the conduit. The crater is a circular divot around the vent where lava, rock, and ash erupt. The next is the vent. The vent is the actual opening to the Earth's surface that allows the volcanic material to erupt. The magma chamber is pretty self-explanatory. It's where the magma is stored under the Earth's crust. And the conduit is the pipe or the heart of the volcano that brings the magma up to the surface.
Okay, the four main types of volcanoes. So there are four main types of volcanoes, but the first two volcanoes I'm going to talk about are composite volcanoes and cinder cone volcanoes. Before I talk about the four types of volcanoes, I need to tell you what viscosity is. Viscosity is how fluid the lava flow is. So composite volcanoes, also known as stratovolcanoes, are usually steep-sided symmetrical cones of large dimension, built of altering layers of lava flows. Some examples of composite volcanoes are Mount St. Helens, Mount Shasta, and Mount Hood. Cinder cones are built from particles and blobs of cooling lava that are ejected from a single vent. When the lava is shot into the air, it breaks and solidifies to create the cinder cone shape around the volcano. Okay. The second two types of volcanoes are shield volcanoes and lava dome volcanoes. Shield volcanoes are built almost entirely of fluid lava flows. As the flows pour out of the volcano, they move further and further, forming thinner flows, and that's why shield volcanoes are lower elevation. Volcanic and lava domes are formed by relatively small, bulbous masses of lava that can't flow anywhere. And as the lava is cooled, it falls on its vent and eventually covers the vent up.
So why do volcanoes erupt? There are two main reasons why volcanoes erupt, one of them being gas. Magma is from the mantle, the layer under the crust of Earth. Because magma is lighter than rock, it rises towards the Earth's surface. As the magma rises, bubbles of gas form inside it. When the magma is thick, the gas bubbles don't have anywhere to go, which builds up pressure and leads to an eruption. The second reason is water. Similar to gas, when water and magma interact, this causes steam. And when the steam has nowhere to go, this also builds up pressure and then causes an eruption. Our second topic is history. So Kilauea is an active shield volcano of the Hawaiian Islands. It's the most active of the 5 Hawaiian volcanoes, about 210,000 to 280,000 years old, and emerged above sea level 100,000 years ago.
Okay, where's Kilauea located? Kilauea is located at the southern eastern area of Hawaii. Not so fun fact, Kilauea is considered among the most active and dangerous volcanoes in the world, having killed more than 400 people.
Before we go on to our next slide, we have to define what a hotspot is. And a hotspot is an area under the crust where magma is hotter than other areas under the crust. This causes thinning of the crust, which then leads to volcanic activity. So what about Kilauea? Kilauea is both the youngest and most active on-land volcano in the world, and among the most active in the world, making it a hotspot volcano.
Okay, how is Kilauea formed? The pinpoint is where the Pacific hotspot is. The Hawaii Islands were formed when the Pacific plate moved over a hotspot in the middle of the ocean. This is how the Hawaii Islands formed. Kilauea was formed on the Big Island of Hawaii, also considered a hotspot volcano.
So here's Kilauea's timeline. It began in 1790 after a very phreatomagmatic eruption occurred, which is basically when gas and steam come out of the eruption. From then until 1924, small and medium eruptions have happened, but nothing major. In 1924, a really big eruption occurred, causing a giant pit crater called Halemaumau. This was about the size of 125 football fields that eventually sank into the ground. And from then until 1934, there were small continuous eruptions. From 1934 to 1952, there were no eruptions at all. And from then to today, there were small eruptions that were all summit eruptions that didn't exactly really affect anyone. And the most recent being December last year.
Okay, the third topic is the geology of Kilauea. So, what is Kilauea made of? Kilauea is made of basaltic ocean rock. The lava it shoots is a type of basaltic lava called tholite. This basaltic lava has low viscosity, meaning it has low resistance to flow, causing it to be able to flow for many miles.
So Kilauea surface. Because Kilauea erupts so often, there's little old rock that is actually exposed to the surface. Only 10% of the surface rock is older than 1,000 years, which is really low, short in geology terms. And then other 90% of the surface is covered in lava flows younger than 1,000 years. The setting of Kilauea. Kilauea is one of 5 above sea level volcanoes that make up Hawaii. It's the second youngest of the 5 volcanoes and is part of the Hawaiian Emperor Seamount chain. This chain is a chain of shield volcanoes and seamounts, which are pretty much islands that don't reach up to the water surface, extending from Hawaii to an underwater trench in Russia. The Hawaii hotspot in the middle of the Pacific plate is stationary. So when tectonic plates move above, the magma from the hotspot pushes to the surface of Earth and leaves a trail of volcanoes and seamounts along the Pacific Ocean. Our last topic is structure.
Okay, so what is a caldera? Caldera is a large volcanic crater, especially one formed by a major eruption leading to the collapse of the mouth of a volcano. Kilauea summit collapsed, forming caldera 3 miles long, 2 miles wide, with an area of about 4 square miles. This is about 1,900 football fields.
So lastly, what are the characteristics of Kilauea? Said before, Kilauea has a caldera and 2 rift zones extending 78 miles east and 22 miles west. A rift zone is basically a linear crack along the vent of the volcano that forms regions in the volcano. It has an elevation of about 4,000 feet and make up 14% of the big island, Hawaii.
Thanks for watching. All right, thanks so much, Jake.